We're the Animal Stories news team anchormen, famous hit recording artists. Here's me, your charming and delightful old Uncle there, and there's him in person, little Snot-Nosed Tommy. Hi, Tommy.
Hi. Hi, Uncle Lair. Hi, everybody.
Story about a police dog. Let's read it the way it's written here in the paper. It says, ignoring the smell of roasted cashews, almonds, pecans, and peanuts, a police tracking dog went straight to a burglar hiding in a nut factory early Wednesday. It says here he sniffed out the burglar, found him behind the roasting machine. This dog's name was Danny. He's the Kent County Sheriff's tracking dog.
Oh.
It says police were called by a burglar alarm to the Nut Bar Company Incorporated. Dog was turned loose and was apparently not bothered by the odor of roasted nuts and went straight to the burglar's hiding place. One of the Nut Bar employees said it was really amazing that dog could pick up the scent because there's a distinct smell in the factory because of the cooking. But that would be a good job. I think after it's all over for me in showbiz, I'd like to get a job in a place like that, or the Keebler Cookie Company.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Donut. Or wherever it is they make M&Ms.
Or Ho-Hos.
I like this headline here. Says, dog goes for burglar, ignores scent of nuts. Here's another. P.S. Did you guys take a close look at the cover of your second album? That kangaroo, or whatever that pointed-eared thing is, way over on the right side of the bed, looks to me like it's doing something it shouldn't be doing.
What?
I got a copy of the album cover here, little Tommy. I checked it out. I think he's wrong on one thing, but he may be right on the other thing. Over here to the right, you see, it's not a kangaroo, it's a rabbit.
Oh, it's a rabbit, yeah.
But he may be correct on the other assumption.
I didn't notice that.
Me neither.
Wow.
It's kind of like,
He can go blind doing that, right?
it's kind of like Mickey Mouse looks on a Mickey Mouse watch when both hands are pointing at 6. So, you check our next album. If that rabbit's wearing glasses on the next album cover, then you know you were right. Here's a letter from some guy who doesn't sign his name. Writes, Dear Uncle Larry and little Tommy, my friends and I are big fans of yours. We are harbor pilots. Those guys who run the towboats and barges on the Chicago Ship Canal.
Oh, yeah.
As I've been listening to Animal Stories for quite some time now, and I just couldn't stomach any more of these gutless wimps who keep writing you letters wanting to be bureau chiefs of here, there, and yonder, so I had to write to get this off my chest. Just who do these jerks think they are? They act like you owe them something just because they spend a few minutes looking through some jerkwater newspapers trying to find that special story that will get their name on the radio. And those simpering crybabies who whine about getting beat out of bureau chief just because they don't have huge cantaloupe-sized memory glands. He starts rambling on here about Animal Stories being one of the things that makes America great, and about time-honored American traditions. He starts getting real incoherent here. It doesn't say here, but you can just tell this is a guy who voted for Epton. Anyway, says, I don't have an animal story, but I do have a joke. Seems, this buxom young lady was swimming in the ocean in this skimpy bikini.
Oh, yeah?
And the surf tore off her top and washed it out to sea.
Oh, my gosh.
She came out of the water, little Tommy, and she had herself covered up with her arms and hands. Just then a little boy came by and said, "Hey, lady, if you're going to drown those puppies, I'll take the one with the brown nose." Here's a story. It's not an animal story, but it's about a farmer. It's happened over in Cass County, Indiana, by Logansport. 51-year-old farmer out on his tractor with his plow was charged with driving under the influence of alcohol. Well, Tommy, trouble was he was not plowing one of his fields at the time. He was plowing one of the roads. He had his plow down. He's just
Following the line, huh?
Yeah, says he tore up about a mile of road. They put him in the hospital for observation. Here's a story over the wire from Trenton, New Jersey. It's a bear story. Tommy, it's about the oldest American black bear ever held in captivity. Lived in a zoo in Trenton. Her name was Briar Patch. She was 31 years old.
Wow.
I say she was 31 because they had to terminate her.
Oh,
Tommy.
gee. How come?
She is so old and crippled. And she was suffering. So they had to put her out of her misery. Says before they put her to sleep, they gave old Briar Patch a last meal of fresh blueberries, cantaloupe, and peaches smothered in 1.5 pounds of honey. That was the main course. Then for dessert, they administered an overdose of a high-potent tranquilizer and an overdose of phenobarbital.
She have gas?
Not for very long. Well, here's a tragic story in the animal news over the wire. Old Tommy from Cambridge Springs, Pennsylvania. Dairy farmer there named George Coon. Had 80 cows standing out in the pasture between 2 trees when a bolt of lightning came down. 54 of his cows were killed.
Oh, gee.
And here comes the ironic part, little Tommy. It was on his 54th birthday. 1 dead cow for each year. George said he tried to call the cows in from the pasture when storm approached, but they didn't pay any attention to him. So he sent one of his farm hands out there, little Tommy, to bring them back in. And he said one of the boys went down there and then just came back and said they're dead.
Happy birthday
to you, George. This guy was walking his duck down the sidewalk on a leash.
Yeah?
And he passed by a movie theater, decided he wanted to see the movie, but the teller would not let him in the theater with the duck. And the guy explained the duck was on a leash and wouldn't bother anyone, but she still wouldn't let him in. So he walked around the corner and put the duck down the front of his pants. And he goes back to the theater teller, and since she can't see the duck, she lets him in.
Yeah?
So a guy goes in the theater, little Tommy sits down by 2 little old ladies. They're in the dark. And it was really hot and stuffy in the theater, so the guy thought he better let the duck have some air. So he unbuttoned his pants, and the duck stuck his head out, started looking around. And the first little old lady, she nudges the other one and says, "Hey, check out this. This guy next to me has his pants opened." And the second old lady, she said, "Well, don't worry about it. You see one, you've seen them all." And the first one said, "Yeah, that's what I thought too, but this one's eating my popcorn." Says your police got a call the other night from a guy who worked at a pizza place. And he said that he suspected that this caller who had called up for a pizza delivery was a person who had robbed one of the delivery men before.
Oh, yeah.
Voice sounded familiar on the phone. So he agreed to deliver the pizza himself with a police officer and his big stud police dog backing him up.
Mm-hmm.
See, police dog's name was Wolf. Policeman, he told the pizza guy, while they were on their way to the delivery, to drop to the ground as soon as the stick-up guy appeared so that his dog could go into action, okay?
Yeah.
So they got to the house. Little Tommy, pizza guy, got out of the car, walked up to the front door with a pizza.
This is
And
exciting.
suddenly a man appeared from behind some bushes, had a gun in his hand,
Oh, my gosh.
and ordered the guy to hand over his pizza. Well, pizza guy dropped to the ground, little Tommy, and Wolf, the big stud police dog, promptly started to rip the pizza guy to shreds. You know, policeman gave him the order to attack. So he figured the guy on the ground would be easier to beat up. So he attacked the pizza guy.
Oh, no. Oh, probably just bit him right there on the butt.
Yeah, policeman was, you know, he had to keep his dog from from eating the pizza, guys. He's trying to get him off. Meanwhile, the stick-up man escaped with the pizza.
Pizza guy gonna be all right?
He's gonna be fine, little Tommy. Well, you can't blame the dog. I mean, given a choice, if you were a police dog, you know, and there's one guy there standing with a gun, or
Another guy armed with a pizza.
and he's on the ground, of course you're gonna go after the pizza jerk. This is something they cut out of looks like some sort of Nature magazine. It says it's an old issue of Owl magazine.
Oh, yeah, I never heard of that.
No, me neither. It's got a lot of pictures of hippos in here, and then it's got some facts about them. It says here that male hippos have the astonishing habit of flinging their droppings wildly about with their tails as they produce them. You know, hippos. See, here's a picture of one of them.
Oh, in action.
They got their little short tails.
Yeah.
And as they're producing the droppings, little Tommy, they whirl their little tails around like a helicopter blade,
Wow.
you know, and fling their droppings about.
Wow, it's like playing a little softball, little fungos.
Well, you're probably wondering, well, why do they do this? I mean, it sounds
Yeah.
kind of messy. It says usually this is done to impress females. See, I guess you got yourself a big stud hippo there, and he produces some droppings, and he flings them about with his tail, and this really turns the female hippos on.
Oh, wow, look at him over there.
Look at him flinging his droppings.
Wow, I'd like to get to know him.
Outstanding.
Is
Or
that a hunk, huh?
it says usually the stud hippos do this to impress females or to claim a particular patch of water. But sometimes it says the males will fling instead of fighting, and whoever covers the largest area of water soonest wins.
Yeah?
I've never seen this on Wild Kingdom or Wild World of Animals. I've never seen this habit of the hippos of flinging their droppings wildly about. But it does sound kind of like fun. It makes you wish you had a tail. So, did you hear about the big invasion of rabbits at Cardinal Bernardine's mansion?
No, what happened? Is he all right?
Yeah, they didn't attack him, little Tommy.
Oh, good.
Attacked his plants, hordes of them. Ate almost all of the cardinal's new zinnia plants.
Oh, no.
Fact says they ate 125 of them in one night. Cardinal's a big zinnia fan, I guess. Also scarfed down on his tulips and his lettuce beds.
Oh.
So a few people on the near north side wake up early some morning and hear gunfire. It's probably just the Cardinal out there with a 22 knocking off rabbits. This was cut out of some Pennsylvania paper. Berwick, Pennsylvania. Headline here says, Police seek breast exam hoaxer. Story says, police are seeking a man in his late 20s who convinced a state college woman that he could detect breast cancer over the telephone.
Over the telephone?
Mm-hmm.
How'd he do that?
Police investigators said a state college woman in her 20s, whom police would not identify, reported that she received a call last month from a man who said he was working on a new medical device for Pennsylvania State University. During their telephone conversation, the man convinced the woman that his new device could detect early breast cancer if the telephone receiver was rubbed against the endangered area. So she did this.
Yeah?
And the man told her that he had found evidence of cancer and asked for an appointment later in the day to examine the woman in her home.
Oh, gee.
So he showed up and examined the woman's breast, it says here, laid his head on her chest, and then hummed softly. He left without harming her in any way, and by this time this stupid woman realized that she had been conned and called police, who reported that she was very embarrassed at how naive she was. This is a classified ad that ran in some London newspaper for a lost cat.
Yeah?
Well, actually, the ad was run by the people who found the lost cat, okay? It says, found. Kitten with white paws and white chest. Very affectionate. Answers to the name. Go away. Headline here says, husband wounded by wife shooting at chipmunks. 67-year-old Lauderdale Lakes man was accidentally shot in the leg with a pellet gun wielded by his wife, Ruth, age 65, who was shooting at chipmunks, of course. Fancies herself as being some sort of Annie Oakley. Woman 65 years old out there with a pellet gun knocking off chipmunks, old Tommy.
Oh, wow.
According to a Walworth County Sheriff's Department investigation, woman told deputies she uses the pellet gun to keep chipmunks out of their garden, and her husband had walked or stumbled into the line of fire. Get out of the way, you old geezer.
I'm knocking off these chipmunks. Oh, is he gonna be all right?
He's got to be fine, little Tommy. He's got some pellet wounds in the leg there. Yeah. Okay, here's this dog story, little Tommy. This was sent to us by some guy named C. How It Feels. A story from his own personal experience. He writes, Dear Uncle Larry and, Tommy, I have a story about a girl and a dog. Story takes place at a small gathering of people at a friend's home. He had just bought a video game and invited us to play it. My friend has one of those small, yapping dogs, more like an animated ball of fluff. But I've been bit by it in the past, and even when I wear Levi's, it hurts when the dog attacks an ankle. There was a girl I hadn't met before at this party, and we were in the back of the room, and while my friends were involved in video games, I was involved in trying to hit on her.
Wow.
The dog jumped into her lap, and she petted a few times, and then became involved in watching someone really doing well at Pac-Man. Amazingly, she did not notice when the dog, wanting more attention, took a playful nip at her right breast. Fascinated, I watched as the dog continued with more and more vigorous attacks. Evidently, since there are no nerve endings in foam rubber, she didn't realize what was happening until the dog had worked itself up so much it was growling as it shook its head from side to side with a mouthful of what should have been one of her most sensitive areas.
Oh, gee.
When she finally looked down and saw what was happening, she decided that for appearance's sake, she'd better fake a little pain, and she said, "Ouch, ouch, no, doggy, no," and pushed the dog, now looking somewhat exhausted, onto the floor. I pretended to be watching the video game and did not let on as to what I had seen, nor the bad job of acting that followed. I also stopped trying to hit on her.